Every special concert grand piano is produced by hand at Steinway, and they all have a production number. Okay, so this is Eve, and Eve found her way to Vermont in January of 2020, and we are excited about having a whole new music program coming to Essex, to the Essex Experience and the T-Rex Theater. And one of our first shows that we were planning was to have a show with a Cuban Jazz Grammy Award nominated pianist, Elio Villafranca. And Elio was a Steinway artist, or is a Steinway artist, and he said, I would love to come up and play with you. I'm playing in Carnegie in 3 weeks. If I can get there a week beforehand and bring my band and play, then that would be a great warm-up for us, and I'd be able to do this with my Steinway contract. The problem is, we have to have a Steinway piano, and trying to find a Steinway piano in Vermont is not that easy. If you do find one, it's very expensive to rent one, and you really never know that it's the piano that you really want. So I said, well, what do we do? He said, well, we could go to Steinway headquarters in Queens, New York, and we could pick out the piano that you want. I said, well, I have no idea about pianos. He goes, well, I do, and let me pick it out for you. So we went to Queens and sat around in their gigantic hall where they have 20 grand pianos, and Eve is a concert grand piano, and a concert grand is the very premier line of pianos that Steinway makes. And a concert grand piano goes on tour. It is leased out by Steinway to music festivals. Eve actually went on tour with Bruce Hornsby for 2 years, and she has been to many festivals, including the Lake Champlain Performing Arts Festival years before. So what the artist does when they pick out a piano is they sit down and they play a little bit, and they get the feel, the action, and the sound, and the tenor, and the vibration of the piano. And if it feels good, they continue to play. If not, they close the cover and they go on to the next one. Elio went through 4 pianos until he came to Eve, and when he sat down, started playing on her, and you could see him smile. And he continued to play, and we looked at each other and we said, this is going to be the one. So he said, yes, this is the one. This is the one you should really buy. It's incredible. The action is amazing. The sound, the tone, the tonality. So we decided to pick Eve, and we brought her to Vermont. And when Elio came to perform that night, I said, Elio, every great piano needs a name, right? He said, absolutely. I said, well, I've decided I want to call her Eve. He goes, oh, Eve is a very pretty name. How'd you come up with that? I said, well, it's very easy. I used your initials, Elio, Villafranca, and Essex. And Eve itself, to me, is the beginning of many wonderful things, and that was the intent of getting her up here to really showcase our venue and also the direction of where we want to take this, which is in a very upscale direction. So every piano, every concert grand piano has a provenance, and the provenance tells you who has played on the piano, and Eve has been played by several of the finest keyboardists and pianists in the world. And then, unknown to us, when we played Eve, we didn't look at her number, but when we chose her and we said, this is the girl, this is going to come to Vermont, we looked at her production number, which is stamped on her body, and her number is 888. And it just seemed incredibly fitting because 888 is a very auspicious number. It stands for infinity, potentials, possibility. It's a very cosmic number, 8 in itself, but to have 888 really indicated to us that it was meant to be that she came to Vermont, and she came to us. And just coincidentally, every grand piano has 88 keys. Unfortunately, very shortly after her first show, we were shut down because of COVID, and for 2 years, Eve lay dormant and quiet. But we continued to take care of her and give her water, which every good piano needs some water, to keep the chords going right. And now, when we do get an accomplished keyboardist here, if they so choose, they can play Eve in our shows. And we're looking forward to a lot of new beginnings, new potentials, new possibilities, with a flair and a style that Eve deserves, and that I think our audience here in Vermont will appreciate.